All right, so happy Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. There is tutoring after school today from 4:40 to 5:30. And if you're falling behind in your work, you know who you are. You're still a good person, but we just have to remember to suffer and do what's right no matter how we feel. So come see me either through the Zoom or in person, and I will help you focus and get caught up and do well. Or if you're missing hours, you have too many absences from the first semester, you can make up time after school with me as well. So be sure and come by after school through the Zoom or in person. Today we will focus on connecting to prior knowledge and making meaning out of new information. And once again, anytime you're learning something and you relate it, oh, this is kind of like what we did in blah 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 class. Oh, I remember this. We did something like this last year. Anytime you do that, you are already upping your ability to recall it and to understand it. So keep that in mind. And here's the big one. I will do the work now. And I've seen a lot of people suffering and working and keeping up. And if you've been keeping up or you've already caught up, even though you fell behind a little bit, man, I'm proud of you. And I hope you're proud of yourself because that's what success takes. I'm not perfect. I fall behind, but I'll fall a day behind, not a week or a month, and then I catch up. So do the work now. I will read, imagine, listen to, interpret, and use my inferencing, my riddle skills. I'm going to do the research and I'm going to write my answers. And for our close, our discussion question, well, how was the research process for you? How'd it go? Was it easy? Was it difficult? Did you find a lot of information? Not enough? Just tell us about that in the discussion. And talking about research, talking about charities, the example that I'm going to use is the charity that I've donated the most time to, and that's the Roy Moss Children's Home. If you see, this is me and my wife back when I was at Clark High School. We were the president school of student council for the region, for the area, and we had a lot of kids volunteer. They made cakes. We had games. We played with all the kids that lived there. These are all the student council kids. We couldn't show the residents there because of privacy issues and so forth. But all these kids worked after school for hours preparing. And me, I about went insane, especially the first year I did it, because what we did was we got presents, a whole gift box for each of the residents there. And I think there were like 80 or 90 kids that lived there. And we would have a school teacher's class adopt a child and they would work together. So each class would work together. They would volunteer. Okay, I'm going to get this kid a pair of shoes. I'm going to get this kid a jacket. This kid wants this kind of a toy. Okay, I'm going to volunteer to do that. So imagine getting these boxes of stuff for 90 kids and storing it and cataloging it and keeping track of it. And then people would give cash donations instead and keep track of that too. So if something was missing for a kid, well, me and my wife were at Walmart at 11 o'clock at night trying to hunt down the extra stuff. It was a ton of work, but it's a great organization. So we did that for 3 years while I was there at Clark. And it was a great thing. Now, like I said, I volunteer through my church, but it's just a great thing to do. So that's what I'm going to use as my example on how to do the research here in just a little bit. But I just wanted to show you that. And let's see here. Oh yeah, before we forget, let's do our positive affirmations. They're so good for us. They help keep us focused positively. And I've continued to put strong in there instead of smart, right? Because it's the strength that helps us. Like I said, our emotions, they go up and down. They're going to go up and down. Oh, well, but I am strong, so I'll keep doing the right thing. So please say them with me. You don't have to unmute yourself, of course. What are you? I am strong, confident, and successful. Yep. And how do you feel about getting your work done? I love getting my work done. Yes, me too. And how do you feel about schoolwork? The harder I work, the stronger I become. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, how does this research work? Well, let me show you. If you come into, let's go back to the right page here. Week 2, Tuesday's work. And I have to add in the discussion. I haven't done that yet. So I'll add the discussion in. But the research, this is like all your information that you need. And there's several things that you're going to be focusing on when you do your research. The main thing is how we're going to track our research is we're going to put it in an annotated bibliography. And it's a big fancy word for just an organized way of keeping track of your information. So if you go annotated bibliography, that sounds difficult. It's just a big word. It's a fancy way to track what you've done so that you can go back and anybody can go back and verify what you've done. And then here's a link to that source that we went to, the San Antonio report. So I'll be showing you what I'm talking about there. The other thing that we have is the actual assignment itself, and that's the research one. And if you click on that and open it up, it looks like this. Charity Research 1, and I love this quote attributed to Albert Einstein: "If we knew what it was we were doing, it would not be called research, would it?" And that's the mindset that I want you to have. Like, I don't know what I'm going to find. Is this the best charity ever? Are they mediocre? Do they not really do much? You be open-minded about it. The problem is, if we think we already know, we oftentimes, look over and ignore the stuff that we don't like. So be open-minded about a charity. It may not be that great. It may be great. We're just going to research and find out. So to research a charity, you click on the hyperdoc to find information on it. And this is the one that I showed us yesterday. And where you're probably going to have the best, largest amount of information is the San Antonio report that we've done before. But I do want you to go into the academic journals, because it's important to look through those. So let me show you what I'm talking about here. If you go to the Warren Library page, and I'll save you some trouble. When I went into Gale Power Search, I found nothing about Roy Moss. I mean, nothing came up. I don't know why. The only places that I was able to find something in is ProQuest. Let me show you ProQuest. And I'm just going to search Roy Moss. And Roy Moss Youth Alternatives achieves national COA accreditation, first in the nation. So this is interesting for Drop-In Center for Sex Trafficked Youth. So this was a big deal. So if you click on this, and there's got good information here, how the accreditation process works. So you could say, wow, this is telling me that this is a good place because this has this accreditation to help people. So you kind of have to skim through it, look through here, find a quote that you like. I like these two paragraphs here. Okay, so I'm going to copy those. And for my working copy, here's the examples. Example one, I'll tell you more about that in a moment, but here's the source one, and here's the quote, where you put the quote in. So I'll put the quote in there. And then the citation, the really good thing about using ProQuest and stuff like that is that, wow, it creates a citation for you. That's super fun. When you cite, you're going to use the APA. There's a newer one, the 7th, but 6 is close enough. And then you copy that. Citation is here. Okay, so that took me all of what, a minute? 2 minutes? What's going to take a little time is actually doing your bibliography annotation. So, and it's a minimum of 150 words. If you're already like, oh my God, this is a lot. Yeah, it is, but it's okay. You're strong, you're confident, you're successful, and you just do it a little bit piece by piece. So you do 3 parts, like what is the content? Like, what's this about? Okay, what is it about? Well, let me start my annotation here. This is about that the Roy Moss nonprofit received, I spelled that wrong, accreditation for helping sex trafficked youth. And we have to go over it more. We can put it's a difficult process, or it's a long process, and they must meet certain standards. That's the start of it. And then the credibility. Well, is this a good website? Is this a good document that we can use? And pretty much one of the things that you're looking for is if it comes from an academic database like this, you can pretty much guarantee that it's pretty good. It's from the PR Newswire. It's recent. And those are the kind of things that you're looking for. How recent is it? Is it just from any goofball who has a web page or a blog and says what he wants to say? Now, this is a true Newswire, PR Newswire. It's a recent post, so you can talk about those kind of things. We'll watch a video about it in a minute. And those are the things that you're looking for. So that's what I'm going to put in my citation here. Of course, this is supposed to be content, so we would make that yellow. Credibility from a verified news source. Recent post and date, and found through academic database. That's the credibility. And then the relevance. Well, they took the time to get this done. And of course, you would spend some time reading into it, thinking about it before you answer this. But the relevance, importance, well, what is this telling us? If we use our riddle skills, it's telling us this is a good company. They've done the work. They found out stuff about it. And that's how you would talk about it further there and add further details. The other sources that we're going to look at is the the San Antonio report. That's the one we looked into yesterday. And if I search them for Roy Moss, and there's a number of posts about them. So looking at the date of them, like this one, Roy Moss to expand, improve youth emergency shelter. That's from 2016. That's not terribly new, but that's still important. They're growing, right? They open a 5th home for homeless youth. That's in 2017. Renovate kitchen at youth shelter to provide more than just meals. That's from 2019. This is from 2020. Look how recent this is. New Sarah leader launches movement to house all homeless youth. And Roy Moss must be involved with that. So this is darn recent, right? This was just a few months ago. So we can click on this one and find out about that and do the same thing. So the thing about using this one is of course, it doesn't automatically generate a citation for you. But if you look on this thing, look, APA bibliography citation generator. So you don't have to do the citation yourself because it's a lot of work. It's a pain. So all you have to do is decide, okay, so where is this from? The San Antonio report? That's on a website. Wow, that was difficult, right? And then you copy the web address. Click on that. And then it's done all of it for you. The only thing you have to add is the date accessed. Today, January 12th. I thought it was December 1st. I'm like, wait, no, but it has the day and the month. So today's date, San Antonio report, site source. Boom, it's done for you. Click to copy. And then that would be your second one citation. You find a quote that you put in there, you put it in there, and then what's the article about? Credibility, when was it written? Is it from a verified news source? And why is it important? What is it telling us about Roy Moss? And what is that helping us to understand about it? So for this, you have to actually do some reading. You have to do a little digging. You have to do a little research and find out about it and do it one piece at a time. The main thing, of course, is, what if I'm not doing it perfect? The important thing is to do it and to try and to trust yourself, use your riddle skills and see what you can come up with. The other place that you can look that, oops, that's not it, is these charity navigators. And I went through all 4 of them with Roy Moss, and I was able to find information on it on 2 of them. I think I found information on the first one and on the third one, but nothing here and nothing there. And let me show you Charity Navigator real quick. And I put Roy Moss. And Roy Moss Youth Alternatives Foundation is separate from Roy Moss Youth Alternatives Incorporated. The foundation basically saves money, and they kind of control the spending. So when it looks for a foundation, if you see a foundation versus the company itself, the foundation kind of controls the money that they use. This is the actual company itself. So this is the one that I'm going to be focused on. Give with confidence. It has 100 out of 100. Its financial accountability is 100%. It hasn't scored here, but it's coming soon. And you can look through here. You know, you could quote this. Higher effect on score, 19 out of 20, independent board. So you can scroll through and hopefully be able to find the charity that you're researching on at least one of these 4 things. So I would find some kind of a quote about what they say about them, even just this, right? Copy and paste that in, and the same kind of a thing, right? Copy. Go back to the citation generator. This is from another website, isn't it? Publication date. Only thing I have to add most of the time is just today's date and cite source. And boom, and it keeps my other citation. Here's my new one. Click to copy that one. And then I would put that in there, right? You only have to do 2 for today. And once again, what really is going to take the time is, okay, what's the article about? Their credibility, when was it written, who did it, where did it appear, and then relevance. What are they telling us about them that's good for us to know? And that's your paragraph. This should be at least 150 words overall. Okay, so I've got a little video on credibility that I want us to watch. So let me go ahead and put that up on the screen for us. And it's kind of silly, but the information they're giving us is important. So if you're on your phone or something, be sure and put it aside. You are a good person. Computer freezing up.
Evaluate sources by looking at the author, the audience, the review process, the currency, and the perspective. Please see our other videos on how to search databases and the catalog. Stanford's Nerd Squirrel found a lot of sources by looking through books, magazines, newspapers, journal articles, and websites for material to support its arguments for a research paper. Nerd Squirrel has even been to the Stanford University archives to find primary source materials. But what materials are acceptable for a research paper? How does the Nerd Squirrel decide? It's not easy, but Nerd Squirrel is up to the job. Nerd Squirrel can detect which sources are the best by following these steps. Step 1. Who created the source? Is the author credible? An expert in the field? Is there a list of references or a bibliography? Step 2. Who is the author speaking to? The general public? Experts in the field? Special interest groups? Step 3. Has the source been reviewed by scholars in the field for accuracy and credibility? Databases let you limit your search results to scholarly, peer-reviewed articles. Step 4. How recent is the source? And does it matter? Sometimes older is better. Step 5. What is the purpose of the source? Is it trying to educate? Provide factual information? Influence? Sell something? You can still use the source as long as you acknowledge its bias or perspective. Step 6. Let's look at domains. Some domain names are considered more credible than others. .edus are educational sites, and they are usually trustworthy. Sometimes, though, people can post information that universities are not aware of or do not condone. For example, this article on gun control is on the Duke University's People page, and it asks you to join the NRA at the bottom. The tilde in the address bar can be a giveaway that this is a personal website and may not be sanctioned by the educational institution in the URL. .gov sites are created by government agencies and are also generally trustworthy. You have to be more careful about .com sites. Some are trustworthy. Other .com sites are trying to sell you something. While .org sites are created by organizations, some are trustworthy and some are not. Always independently research the organization. Don't rely on the website's About page. Other ways to learn about the website are to check the Who Is record to find out who sponsored the page, dig into the policies of the organization, and read news articles or reports about the organization. To highlight the differences in sources, let's look at this example. Nerd Squirrel searched for Martin Luther King Historical Examination in SearchWorks and found many scholarly books. This Stanford.edu site is an example of a reputable one. Many academic articles that come from databases are online, so they may appear on a .com website. Next, Nerd Squirrel searched the ProQuest database for Martin Luther King Historical Examination. Just like the search result, this academic database is also a reputable site. For its next test, Nerd Squirrel searched for Martin Luther King Historical Examination, this time using Google Scholar. As expected, these results look good and are from reputable sites. Just because it's the internet does not mean it's factual. For its final test, Nerd Squirrel did the same search, but this time just Googled it. The first Google result is from a .org domain that even has Martin Luther King in the URL. That was easy. It looks professionally designed, it has a Civil Rights Library link, and even a pop quiz for students. This is a perfect time for Nerd Squirrel to review its checklist. Who created it? Who is the author speaking to? Has the source been reviewed? How recent is it? What is the purpose? What is the domain? Remember to search the organization independently. The first step on the checklist was to identify the author. This website does that on the bottom of the page. The author is Stormfront, and the link might tell you more about who put the site together. Oh my! Even though this is not a reputable site, you might want to use it in your paper anyway. It depends on the point you want to make, but it's important to acknowledge the author's perspective. Nerd Squirrel might have thought that finding reputable sources online was easy, but now it's learned the importance of evaluating each source critically. Nerd Squirrel has finished evaluating its sources. That was tough, but that's what it takes to be a real scholar at Stanford.
All right, so that was pretty corny. But the point being made is, of course, once again, if it's .edu, if it's .gov, it's probably good. If it comes from the database, and that was the thing, the databases, it's harder to find stuff from local stuff, but I say, give it a shot. Like when I went to ProQuest, go back to ProQuest again. Another San Antonio charity is the Children's Shelter. And like, this is not anything about San Antonio. The Children's Shelter, Kansas City, and Calcutta. Nope, that's not the San Antonio. The Ostrich Children's Center construction event. We're looking for the San Antonio one. And, Florida Keys Children's Shelter, Austin Children's Shelter, Senegal School Children's Shelter. It's harder to find information about it. And if you search San Antonio Children's Shelter, okay, here's something. Oh, I found something here. So that's where your riddle skills are going to come in. You have to figure it out. Issue news release, holiday stocking the children's shelter, delivered to the shelter. This probably isn't that usable. Let me go back. It's not enough, right? The award of single source supplement grants, children's shelter care to Baptist children. This is, some people put this down, right? This BCFS as something. So it's one of those, let me play around and see what I find. Try looking in the academic databases just because it's good practice more than anything else. And then go into the San Antonio report, the Charity Navigator, and have fun looking around. And if you really can't find anything, well, then of course message me and let me coach you, let me help you. It doesn't have to be difficult, but you do have to get to work and get it done so you can do this. So we have today and tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow is like a half day. Classes are like 20 minutes long or something like that. They're going to be done by 1 o'clock. So this is going to be due tomorrow, but I want you to work on it today. And then if you have lots of trouble, tomorrow is going to be just like a question and answer session, so I can help you if you're struggling. But most of what you picked, you should be able to find good information on. All right, so we've taken about half the class period today to get started on this. If you need any help, once again, message me and get started. Get started so that you can get done, get this turned in on time, if not early, and have fun looking at this. You can also look at the example that's listed there of how it's done and how it's set up. And this is good work. It's good for us to search around. If you want to think about it as a video game, right? I have to figure this out. You're figuring it out, how to find the information that you want. And it's really not difficult. It just takes a little time.